Thank you for supporting this event. Thank you for inviting me to participate. Thank you, Joe, for this. It's wonderful. I really am very happy that I can contribute with what I do, right? Which is teaching young learners with literature and creativity mainly. And inevitably, when I think of teaching, I think of transversal issues, and environmental issues are transversal, and they should be part of what we teach when it comes to content, right, in ELT, especially when we think that we need to make it meaningful for the child. So I'm going to start by sharing a PowerPoint. It will somehow guide me all along, but then I will interrupt the presentation to show some of the books I use. So what I would like to happen today is that if I could introduce a little bit of the experiential, exploratory, and imaginative approach to teaching young learners that I follow, and to see whether we can green the pre-primary curriculum and help young learners develop empathy for non-human life and discover the power of small actions. I think this is a gift for life. It's a life skill, and this is what is relevant at the moment. And if I could share some practical tips and insights and resources and activities that we can take back to our classrooms and curriculum, it would be great if I can do all of this today. Let's see. I would like to start with a welcome song. Those who teach young learners know the importance of routines in our classroom to organize the classroom and to help young learners know what we expect from them. And very often we start with a welcome song. And this welcome song, the idea is to say, well, okay, now it's time for learning. And I love this welcome song, which we use also gestures to do it, right? And I took this, it is an adapted version of an Aboriginal song called Acknowledgement of Country from the Aboriginals in Australia. Especially because what they do is they respect their heritage and the ongoing relationship they have with the land. And the song says, down is the earth, up is the sky, here are my friends, and here am I. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or hello. And if we look at the song, what we explain, and we work with kids, is that when we say down is the earth, what we do is we respect all life on earth. And so we open our arms wide to respect our land. When we say up is the sky, we respect all life in the sky. So that's why we raise our hands. And then we say, here are my friends, and we hold hands, and we create a circle of young learners holding hands, because we show that we belong to a community. And when we say, here I am, it's because we also acknowledge our individuality. And when we say hello, it's because we greet our friends and treat one another with kindness. So they know this. And every time they say it at the beginning of the class, they know all of this. And this starts raising awareness of our place in the world. I must say, I have an anecdote with this song, which I love, because I had a colleague who lives in Ushuaia. Ushuaia is the last city in the world before Antarctica. And she teaches children who live in Antarctica. They live there for 6 months with their parents because they work there. So they're 4, 5, 6 children. And so she said, I need a welcome song. And we at the Teacher Training College recorded this song for her to say, so children in Antarctica say this song. And I think this is something very peculiar, right? And it's something I am very proud of. Now, of course, the whole thing we do has a lot to do with the Sustainable Development Goals, especially if we look at point 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, 12, Responsible Consumption and Production, 13, Climate Action, 14, Life Below Water, 15, Life on Land. So this is somehow the frame and the background that supports the kind of work we are sharing today. And this also has a lot to do with a need we have at schools, and I think that we are all responsible for this. There is this survey that was carried out by UNESCO in 2021, which these are some of the results. 45% of national education documents studied made little to no reference to environmental themes. Over a third of survey respondents indicated no inclusion of environment-related content in teacher training programs. And there is higher inclusion of environmental activities in upper secondary education, in contrast to primary and lower secondary education, apart from nature-based instruction and gardening in lower grades. So this means that there is a real need that we, as teachers, coordinators, heads of schools, become aware of this and work towards including these topics in our everyday classes when we teach English as a foreign language. So what is my approach and how this comes together? Well, in the middle is the child, and young learners are the most active, the most curious, the more demanding audience or learners we can have. And when we teach English language, we basically teach cognitive skills, right? And memory building. But that alone is not enough. This, in my case, I need to season it with pedagogies of creativity, because that is what expands their creative thinking skills. And I need to include pedagogies of inclusion, because they need to develop critical thinking skills. And it is in pedagogies of inclusion when the topics I'm working with today have a lot to do, because it has to do with raising awareness, because they are the future. And they will be decision makers. So how do I do for a child to develop a comprehensive language learning experience? Well, in my English class, I will use the 4 skills plus, culture, etc., with meaningful learning that I will take from pedagogies of inclusion and pedagogies of creativity, with grammar and vocabulary in context and task-based and project-based approaches. But when it comes to pedagogies of creativity, how do I include art and self-expression, so important, right, in teaching English as a foreign language, when they can express themselves in that foreign language? Well, through experiential learning, and experiential learning connects directly with play. There's nothing more experiential than play, and collaboration, which works towards community-based social skills. And it all goes back to my welcome song, right? When I say, here are my friends and here am I, right? The community-based social skills. And when it comes to pedagogies of inclusion, it has to do with global issues, sustainable education, diversity, interculturality, and intersectionality. So all of this comes together when I plan the lessons and when I teach my student teachers how to plan their lessons. Now, I have a sheet of paper here, I hope you can see it, with a big hole in the middle. And so this is how I generally start with this story I'm going to tell you. And the question I ask is, what can it be? What can you use it for? Any ideas to share? And this is a moment in which you write in the chat what it can be and what you can use it for and what ideas you have. So it would be great if you can share your ideas in the chat. Let's see, somebody writes, is it the earth? Is it talking earth? It can be a window. Oh, hey, great. Julia, hello. Yeah, it could be a window. It could be the earth. All right. Okay, now I'm going to, you can put it on and have a nice cape. Exactly. It's a little bit small for my head, but it would be a good thing. A hole in the ozone layer. Exactly. A frame for a picture. Thousands of ideas, and kids, this is when you activate their imagination, right? Now, at this moment, depending on the language level, they may say things in their own mother tongue, which for me is fine, absolutely, because they are interacting with the English class, right? In the language they can. Peekaboo game, I love that. A means of focuses on little bits of mature, okay, something else I don't understand. A fruit core, right, a fruit core. Okay, I will stop reading to show you the book. The book is the following. It's a book with a hole. Actually, look, And it's the earth, the one who said, I'm putting it the other way around. No, it was like this. So it's a book with a hole, and the book is a wordless book. So here's the book, and it begins like this, with a little green leaf. And then there's lots, and there's more, and there's a whole forest. But then there's a little bit of a problem. We can see a crane there, and we can see that lots of trees are being cut down. What for? Moment for kids to say, they're going to build a house. Of course, they build lots of houses, too many houses and no trees. Well, then we continue, and we continue with skyscrapers, of course. And then we have big cities, and we have industries, and there's a lot of smoke, which pollutes the air. And then also the seas. And we have a little polar bear. Look, there's no room for him anymore. And so we say, we've got a problem. And we ask the children how we can solve it. Is there a way we can change this? And children give lots of ideas, among which, generally, there's one who says, we have to plant seeds again. And that's what we do. We plant seeds again, and we learn to live in a much more integrated way, in which trees may be cut to create space for houses, but new trees are being built to live in a more harmonious way. So this is also in big cities. So this is the book we share, in which a lot of the vocabulary we are learning is used. And now what I do after having undergone the experience of listening to the story, working with the kids, sharing ideas, is to have activities that are very creative, that in which the children can express how they felt about the reading. You can have a whole school project, which would be planting trees, because that's the idea of the book, that we need to plant trees, to have trees around, and to take care of them together, if that were possible. Also creating green spaces in the playground with recycled plastic bottles, which is a wonderful work you can do with other areas of the school, like arts and crafts, for example. Or I know that Deb Asereni is here as well. I saw her name. Deb Asereni carried out an interesting project with creating eco bricks. So you can go to her webinar in the platform, in the YouTube platform, and you can see how she does it, because she gives all the explanation on how she worked with the kids at school with that project. So these are all ideas that you can do after reading this book. And I have some pictures I took. This is, for example, something you can do. They can go out, they can go home, they can go to the park, and they can collect leaves. And with those leaves, they can create some artistic project, like trees, like these little, with the wooden sticks, like little figures with feathers. And as you can see, you are also using, and kids need to know that, you're also using natural resources to create crafts, right? So in that way, it becomes, they continue working with the protecting trees when they are doing their creative task. These are other possibilities, like creating, mobiles with the leaves. They can decorate the leaves, they can leave them as they are. And as you can see, the materials used are all natural. Or you can have, I saw this in many schools, the vertical gardens that they create in the playground with the plastic bottles, or the little pots for the plants in the classroom. So these are some of the activities that you can do. And of course, you can have this logo in the classroom in which kids are, remember to reduce, if not reuse, and if not recycle, right? As something they remember every day when they are in the classroom working with in your English class. So this was my first example of a book I wanted to share. Now let me share how I work, because you say, okay, this is good, but what is your lesson planning? How do you organize it? Well, I organize it in 3 moments: the pre-reading moment, the while reading, and the dessert. So it's a menu: the starter, the main course, and the dessert. And for the starter, I look for ways to challenge children to imagine, to guess, to discover, and that's why I decided to use this as a way to do that. For the main course is the storytelling, or the story reading, or the story performing, the book talk moments, the interactive reading with the kids. And for this part, I find it absolutely important, the fact that it gives children the possibility to undergo spontaneous listening and spontaneous speaking in English. Because as we know, when we teach English, many of the listening moments we have are very much controlled, and it's language they know. So in this case, it's a moment in which language is not necessarily the one they know. It can be a bit more difficult, but it's because of all the support of you, the book, the pictures, your body language, the story proper, which helps understanding, and it gives them a sense of success, let's say, in the actual listening to the story. And the same happens with speaking. And also looking for detail, right? For them to be, to discover, to notice, to be alert, to be interested and engaged. And then for the post-reading activities, for the dessert, are the more creative responses, right? And some of them are much more active, like creating a mobile, or creating a collage, etc., or planting a tree and taking care of it. So this is the next story I would like to share with you today, which I started with the mystery box. I actually have the mystery box here. It's here. And it actually has things inside. I always bring things inside. I know Karina Duran is here, and she has a lovely suitcase for Winnie the Witch stories. So she has a suitcase she opens with lots of things inside. So it's the same idea. So here I ask kids to look at what it's inside. And when they open it, they find lots of little wooden animals, right? And I say, like these ones. So I say, one of these animals is going to appear in the next story. And so the story, once I show the story, they immediately know what animal that is. It's easy, because the story is, where is the elephant? And the story is this one I'm going to show you now. This is the story, where's the elephant? And so they need to find other animals here. Let me see if you, the friends, right? Because the elephant is not alone. And this is the story. Let me see if you can find other animals here. There are 2 more. It's very difficult. They have to be, very alert, because it's not easy, but I'm going to help. Can you see? Oh, yes. Yes, there's the snake. Very good, Deborah. There's a snake. Now, there is another one very near the snake. A bird. Right, Karina. It's a parrot. So these are the 3 animals. So a green owl. Oh, I didn't see the green owl. Ah, this one. It looks like an owl, but it's just a tree. Oh, that's lovely. Well, the story looks as if it were going to be like, where is Wally, right? But it has a little bit of a trick. Well, the 3 animals are introduced, and well, they have to look at the animals in every page. Now, you see, something is happening here. Look. And it gets in crescendo. It gets bigger and bigger. And our animals, their habitat becomes smaller. And it grows in such a way that in the end, look, there's only 1 tree. Yes, there's deforestation. And then, sadly, we know about this. They create a zoo for the 3 exotic animals in the middle of this place. So again, a moment to stop and ask the kids, how can we free these animals? What can we do? Is that, can we do something about it? And then we show what they do. They actually free themselves and they are going to escape, right? And take this boat to go and find another place where they can live. And they take the tree with them to plant it somewhere else as a memory of their home. So that's the end of the story. There's a lot to be said about it. There's a lot to think about. You can share with them the reasons why this story was written, because it's about the experience of the writer in Brazil, in the rainforest, and he saw deforestation. So it was a way. So it also has a lot of the real thing that we connect with. Now, what can we do when we work with a book like this? We have to be very active with the kids and very hands-on, right? Because the story is self-explanatory. There's no need that we go into detail. We are raising awareness just by showing the story with them. In this case, the activities could be, for example, creating small dioramas or models for an animal they like, so they can create the context where the animal lives. So they choose the animal and they create the diorama. This can be individual, can be pair work, group work, as you prefer. And it can be an interesting language activity in which we develop critical thinking skills and cognitive thinking skills by grouping animals according to where they live, right? The rainforest, the woods, the jungle, the sea, the North Pole, domestic pets, etc. Or we can also group animals according to what they can do, like fly, swim, walk into legs, lay eggs, etc. These are very much CLIL-oriented tasks in which they become aware of, and you can go into animals in danger and explore more about these animals and how we can help, in what way. The next book, let me see what time it is. Yes, I still have 9 minutes, and I would like to share some other books with you. This is a very contemporary book, Clean Up, and the writer Brian and Diola, the illustrator, they have created a book which can be tackled for so many different ways, because it is we can work with family construction, we can work with ageism, no, because this little girl has a granny who serves at the age of 70, and it's fantastic. We can work with protecting animals, because there's an animal sanctuarium and what it means. The little girl gives us tips like not touching animals, just respecting them. And at the same time, this little girl, who is the main character of the story, she's a very active character, full of life and curious and dynamic and spontaneous. And when she goes to Jamaica to visit the grandparents, she sees that the beaches are very dirty because of human waste, which is something we can relate to. And so she starts organizing a campaign on the beach. And somebody from the community who is an artist creates lovely dustbins for the beach, so they can all throw their dust there, their litter there, instead of spreading it all around. And this idea obviously is something that happens in many schools. There are competitions done on this, and I think we can do it in a big kind of huge competition, and it can also be done in the classroom, decorating our dustbins and being very and having different dustbins for different waste. And I will show you I just wanted to say that the story is amazingly interesting, and you can and very lively. So these are some of the dustbins I found. This is a huge competition, of course, and that is from outside for the playground, and these are for the classroom, right? So this is this is something we can do and the kids see their own production, in the classroom. This is another story I sometimes use. It's the tree and environmental fable. This book talks about a family. It's about these two people who have bought a piece of land in the middle of nowhere to have to build their family and to build their home. So when they go there and they start cutting the tree to build the home, a nest falls from the tree with 3 little chicks. When they see that, the woman is pregnant, they have a moment of awareness. It's life in the tree. And so they start paying attention. And what they see is that there's a family of owls living there in the hollow. There's a family of rabbits living there in the burrows. There are birds with the nest. And so they stop and they reflect. They change the plans. And what they do is they change what they're doing. And this is what they build in the end. A lovely, lovely tree house in which everybody lives together, right? Like the birds there, and then other animals, and then their little house, well, not little, but, and then the owls and the rabbits, right? So this is the story I wanted to share, in which we can change our plans and adapt to protect. And this is the message for the kids, basically. So let me share now. The activity I thought for this. And the activities is an activity I always work with. I work with this for lots of different things. Is working with templates, with story carpets. And it's a template which has 3 layers. Outside, it's the whatever relates to the environment. And the second one is the one that has to do with the character. And the one in the middle is the favorite scene. And so when they're very little, they start with drawings. And when they're very, very little in kindergarten, I don't care where they do what. I don't mind. If it's a caterpillar and they do the caterpillar and the environment, I just don't care. What I like is the fact that they are creating their rug, right? And when they are older, I suggest writing ideas from the book as well that they can include in the drawing. And I have an example to show of how this could look like. It was another story, it was not this one, and it was done by a student teacher at the teacher training college, which for me, this is important because teachers need to have the experience as well of doing what they later on ask their students to do. And I think I have only 3 minutes to finish off. And I would like to finish with a story, which is it's a classic, let's say, The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. I don't know if you know this story. The story is a very sad story in the end. This is the beginning and the end of the story. It's about this child playing with this tree when the child is little. And there's so much he can do with the tree, right? There's so much he can climb the tree, he can eat the apples, he can swing from the branches, he can play hide and seek and hide. If he's tired, he can rest under the shade of the tree. When he's a little bit older, a teenager, he goes there with his beloved one, and then they crave their names on the tree trunk. But then when the child grows and he needs money, so he sells the apples he takes from the tree. And later on, the tree becomes animated and they have a dialogue. And so he says, now I need to build a house. And the tree gives the branches for the house. And then he says, now I need to travel. And the tree gives the trunk for the boat. And in the end, the only thing the tree is a stump. When the little boy becomes a grown-up and comes back as an old man, as a senior, the only thing he can do is sit on the stump. And that's the story. Working with philosophy with children, I would not say a word. I would tell the story, not say a word, but then I would create a tree in the classroom, and each child will hang a leaf with a word related to the story, a picture related to the story, or something that the child wants to tell the tree and this would be, I mean, I took another picture, of course, but this would be the tree, using branches for them to hang the leaves. I used colorful leaves here so as not to say anything, but it would be great to know what words would you include in this, in the leaves if you were to write the leaves for the tree. So that would be our task together. If you could share what word you would add to that tree we create together. Respect, life, I love you, regret, future, sorry, let's collaborate, recycle, interconnectedness. These are the books I used for today, or the ideas I took from. So for you to follow, so thank you very much. This is all.